Today, we're going to dive into one of the most fundamental systems for life on our planet, the greenhouse effect. It's a story really about a very delicate balance, a natural process that makes Earth livable, but it's also about how that balance has been thrown way off. So let's get right into it. You can almost think of this as Earth's own built-in life support system. It's all about this intricate dance between our planet and the sun, a process that allows all kinds of life to thrive. And get this, without it, our world would just be an inhospitable, frozen rock floating in space. Okay, so first, let's talk about the good side of the story, the natural, totally beneficial version of this process. Imagine it as Earth wearing the perfect blanket, one that's custom-made for life. So how exactly does this whole thing work? Well, the sun showers our planet with energy. The Earth soaks some of it up, gets a little warmer, and then radiates that heat back out. And this is the crucial part, instead of all that warmth just escaping into space, a layer of gases in our atmosphere traps a bit of it, keeping the planet perfectly warm. Now take a look at this number, -15 degrees Celsius. That's what the average temperature on Earth would be without this natural process. I mean, can you imagine? The greenhouse effect is literally the only thing standing between us and a complete ice age. So who are the key players making this all happen? Well, it's a handful of naturally occurring gases, things like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and methane. You can think of these molecules as the threads in Earth's atmospheric blanket. Each one does its part to help trap that heat. And this just nails the concept, doesn't it? For thousands and thousands of years, the natural greenhouse effect was just that, a perfectly weighted blanket. It kept our planet cozy, stable, and absolutely teeming with life, a system in perfect, beautiful equilibrium. But what happens when that delicate balance gets tipped? And here you can see the two sides of the story, side by side. On one hand, you've got the natural effect, which is essential, it's beneficial. On the other, the enhanced effect, which is way too intense and, well, harmful. It's the difference between a system that maintains life and one that completely disrupts it. And this, right here, brings us to the human factor. This is the part of the story where we show up and start to tip those very delicate scales. The big turning point? The Industrial Revolution. Before the 1760s, the system was pretty stable, doing its thing. But afterwards, our activities started pumping massive, and I mean massive, new amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And that's what's led to the super intensified effect we're seeing today. So remember that perfectly weighted blanket? Well, it's not so perfect anymore. It's like we've just kept piling on more and more heavy blankets, one after another, trapping way too much heat and causing the planet to dangerously overheat. Now, the number one driver of this change has been burning fossil fuels. Our massive reliance on coal, oil, and natural gas for pretty much all our energy has released just enormous amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And that's the most significant, long-lasting greenhouse gas we've got. But it's not just about fossil fuels. There are other big factors too, like deforestation and agriculture. See, when we clear forests, we're basically getting rid of a giant natural sponge for CO2. And a lot of modern farming practices release other really potent greenhouse gases, like methane from livestock or nitrous oxide from fertilizers. So, we've added way too many of these heat-trapping gases and thrown the whole system out of whack. What are the real-world consequences? What does it actually feel like to live in this new, imbalanced world? Well, the effects are kind of a chain reaction. You've got rising global temperatures, which then trigger more extreme weather. We're talking intense heat waves, devastating floods, and really long droughts. And as glaciers melt at a shocking rate, sea levels rise, which puts coastal communities at huge risk. This whole disruption then ripples through our food systems and pushes countless ecosystems to the very brink. And listen, this isn't just a theory. These are the real-world impacts we're seeing right now. The consequences of this imbalance are all around us, in flooded homes, in collapsing glaciers, in struggling ecosystems. It's a world that's facing some truly massive environmental challenges. Okay, so it's a serious situation, for sure. But the story doesn't have to end here. And that brings us to the path forward, the path to restoring that balance and hopefully rebalancing our planet. This quote from the source material really just nails the whole issue. Human activities intensify the greenhouse effect beyond natural limits. It's that simple. We pushed a natural system way too far. So the only real solution is to figure out how to bring it back within those limits. And here's the two-pronged approach for how we can do that.
First, we have to cut emissions at the source. That means a big shift away from fossil fuels. Second, we have to protect and restore the planet's natural ability to absorb carbon, and that means protecting our forests.
The big takeaway here is that these actions aren't just about damage control, they're about restoration. The real goal is to help the Earth's climate system find its natural equilibrium once again. And so, at the end of all this, we're left with one final and really crucial question. Now that we understand this delicate balance, how we've impacted it, and the path to restoration, the question is, what part will we play? How can we, as individuals and as a whole, help restore the Earth's incredible life-sustaining balance? It's a pretty powerful thought to leave you with.